Hello and welcome aboard to this episode, the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to following the entire story of One Piece from beginning to end as we focus on one volume each episode. We keep the discussion spoiler-free for new fans of the series, so this is the perfect place to follow along whether you're new to the series or just want to revisit the world of One Piece with us. This week we will be covering Volume 37, Tom, which covers chapters 347 through 357. My name is Joel, and I'll be your host. Joining me today, we have Sean.
This is Sean.
Evan.
What's up?
And Cody.
Yo.
Yow.
You guys feeling super today?
Yo. No. So super. Super good news. Now the strikes that I can say I love the live action adaptation. And I cannot wait to spew my opinions all over the internet. But yeah, it's a good day. It's a good day.
Nice. Yeah, very exciting news. Yeah, so hopefully things move along.
Hopefully we can get to this sooner than later.
Muppet Chopper.
Muppet Chopper.
Yeah. Well, that would be for another episode of the podcast, because this one we're looking at Volume 37. So right in the middle of Water 7. So let's just get a brief overview of where we left off. While Luffy fought with the shipwrights of Galila and Frankie, he learned that the Straw Hats were being accused of the assassination attempt as Iceberg had identified Robin as his attacker. Sanji and Chopper had sighted Robin in the town. After a brief discussion, Robin announces that she is leaving the crew and requests this message to be passed to Luffy. The Straws decided that they wanted to get to the bottom of this and plot to meet with Robin at the Galila Company before she can finish the job killing Iceberg. Robin and another agent appeared in Iceberg's room and demanded the blueprints for the ancient weapon Pluton. Iceberg had earlier arranged to have the blueprints moved to safety, realizing this must be what the assassins were truly after. He told Polly to remove the blueprints from a safe in his office, which prompted the mysterious off-the-books organization, CP9, to make an appearance. The CP9 agents defeated the workers and demanded Polly to hand over the blueprints, but he refused. Luffy crashed in, but was easily trapped along with Polly by bindings from one of the agents. The agents met in Iceberg's room and revealed their true identities: Lucci, Kaku, Khalifa, and Bluno. Lucci explained that they are from the world government and have been working undercover for the past 5 years. He explained that they are after the blueprints. He deduced that Iceberg did not actually have the blueprints in his possession, but were actually passed to the legendary shipwright Tom's other apprentice, Cutty Flam, who supposedly died years ago. However, they discovered that the apprentice had in fact survived and had been using the name Frankie. Luffy and Polly had gotten free and crashed into the room along with Zoro, Nami, and Chopper. Okay, let's move on to Gidatsu's Unexpected Life on the Blue Sea, Volume 31. That's the bath attendant master Gidatsu. Gidatsu has become the bath man of the Blue Sea, not the boss man.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I didn't exactly know what this story was trying to convey, so I had to look at Stephen Paul's translation, and I feel like that made more sense because I think that was basically his translation was for the last segment. They call him the boss man of the Blue Sea, so I don't think that really was conveyed with this text here. So I think it was just saying like he was confused because he thought he became the boss of the Blue Sea, but he's just like, he's running a bath.
That is funny. When you I also did not get that like at first read.
Yeah, especially like this one too. It's like not very like clear from like the picture. It's just like his shocked face,
right?
And so I don't know. To me, I think that makes more sense if you put the context like that. So I think that's probably the right way to read it.
Yeah.
All right, so
has it really been 31?
No, I think they probably skipped
crazy.
A few in there.
Oh, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, they go pretty quick sometimes.
Gidatsu can't count, so you know.
All right, let's move on to chapter 347, Six Powers. The Straw Hats and Polly try to figure out what is going on as they see the members of CP9 over an injured iceberg. Polly asks what is going on, to which Lucci explains the truth that they have been working undercover these past few years and actually work for the world government. In order to prove he's telling the truth, he threatens to smash Iceberg's face. Despite Polly's difficulty accepting what he is seeing, he attempts to attack Lucci, though Lucci evades and lands a blow. He tells him that they have been trained in a special martial art known as the Six Powers, which allows them to fight with the power of 100 fighters. Luffy is unable to stand idly by and intervenes before Lucci can kill Polly. Lucci is able to easily catch Luffy's kick using his Iron Body technique and is unaffected by Luffy's attack. Luffy survives the attack thanks to his Gum Gum powers and demands answers from Robin. He wants to know why she was working with CP9 and why she's leaving the crew. She says the reason is to fulfill a wish of hers, which she cannot achieve if she stays with the Straw Hats. She'll sacrifice anything to achieve this. Iceberg tries to protest, but Robin tells him to be quiet as she uses her powers on him. The Straw Hats still don't understand why Robin is acting like this, but CP9 announces it is time for them to leave as they have the information they need and the mansion will explode in 2 minutes. Zoro asks Luffy if he believes Robin has left the crew, but Luffy shouts that he doesn't buy it. Okay. So yeah, thoughts on this one?
Robin's it's a cold delivery she's got for them.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like Luffy is still not willing to like admit that Robin is trying to leave the crew. And yeah, Robin is trying to like tell him like, hey, like, this is happening. So
yeah. And she gives a little context too. Saying like to make her wish come true.
So she has a goal of some kind that she can't achieve
some
with
kind
the
of
Straw
goal.
Hats.
Right.
Was it alluded to that she had a goal in the tomb with Cobra? I'm sure I remember that conversation.
I think we only glean that she's looking for the information of the poneglyphs.
Right.
I don't think we have any like greater idea.
I think that's what they mentioned. Yeah, I think that's what they mentioned. The missing century. Like there's a missing gap in history.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was in Alabasta.
But nothing about like the specific end goal or what it means for her personally. So it's interesting that she cites her entire dream as the reason, whereas dreams are the thing that unites the crew too. So
yeah,
if anything would make Luffy listen, it would be that. But of course, he's calling BS.
Yeah, he still doesn't buy it. I love how steadfast he is in that.
Yep.
But Robin's trying to really put her foot down as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's like, you people don't listen very well. Like I told you, like I'm leaving. Like don't get my way.
And she's always referred to people on the crew by their positions, but like when she says the cook and the ship's doctor, that one, I don't know, it just hits a little different right now.
It feels like very deliberate.
Yeah.
You're like, come on, like Chopper's right there. You couldn't even like. It's like me staying in a room with Joel and being like, the podcast host and I have talked. It's like
brutal.
At least Chopper knows it's not because the bookstore now.
Well, he still doesn't know that because Robin isn't telling the reason why. So Chopper probably still thinks it's because of him.
Her wish this whole time has been to go to a bookstore normally, and he ruined it.
Without a Muppet interrupting her.
Yeah, and Zoro's still like trying to get like a clear decision. Like, should we treat Robin as a friend or an enemy? Like, what is she to us?
He seems like his mind is pretty made up on that point, but still, listening to his captain, or I guess leaving it up to his captain.
Yep.
Like it reminds me of when he went to Arlong Park and like legit tested Nami.
Yeah.
You could tell it was like, okay, I know you're lying. I'm gonna make you fess up. This feels very different.
Yeah, it seems like it got to that make or break point, and Robin's sticking to her guns. and backing it up.
Because like they're giving Robin like a chance to be like, hey, like tell us what's going on. We can try to help you. And Robin's just like, no, I have to do this on my own. You guys can't help me.
All with a pretty straight face.
Mm.
And with those shadows too. Great work, Oda.
Yeah.
On the don't get in my way panel.
She means business.
Yeah.
To accomplish my goal, I'll make any sacrifice. Yeah. The mysterious woman gets even more mysterious.
Might be
Yeah, and Iceberg seems pretty desperate to stop her too, because it seems like Iceberg has a pretty good idea of what she wants to do. But then Robin's like, I'm not interested in knowing your opinion.
Speaking of betrayal, poor Polly, man.
Poor Polly.
Finger
Is he
pistol
bleeding from the eyes?
I think it's just dripping
mouth.
down from his temple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, we see the powers of the 6 powers, which is sort of explained here as like martial art technique, which I thought was kind of cool. Like it's not a devil fruit power, it's a skill, a trained and learned skill that they all seem to have.
Yep. So all of them can do these abilities.
I don't know if we've seen all 6 yet.
So
I think we do in the next chapter.
Yeah, I think next chapter is the last one.
Yeah.
Because up to this point, we've seen Moonwalk, Sky Slicer, Iron Body,
Finger Gun,
Tempest Kick.
I'm sorry, Tempest Kick.
And Shave.
So you've seen all but one.
I'm really not used to referring
Standby.
to them like translated. Because like this was coming out when I was in middle school and first getting into One Piece, so all the fan sites like Soru, Rankyaku, Takai. And the amount of like fanfic OCs that just like inexplicably had Rokushiki or the 6 powers, like all the fans were like, I'm not gonna have a devil fruit, I'm gonna do something different. But now we're all doing the same thing. It's even more ludicrous. 2008, man. Hooey. Myself included. I'm not exempt from that.
Yeah, so anything else on this one?
I don't know. Luffy seems to be up against it.
I just to round off on Polly, like it did come to me this time that he is in such a similar situation to the Straw Hats, like from his point of view, and that's something that didn't occur to me the first time.
Yeah, Luffy pulls him out of harm's way in this chapter. It's like affirming their alliance.
Yeah, and CP9 is gonna blow up the building, so they have like 2 minutes to get out of there. And like their CP9 is standing in Luffy's way to get to Robin. So like it's not looking good for them.
Not great.
That's all chill.
All right, let's move on. Hidachi's Unexpected Life on the Blue Sea final volume dropped by accidental bats on Hot Springs Island. The bathhouse is finally open for business.
This is a fun depiction of the layout.
I'm gonna miss Gadatsu.
Yeah.
He's got the same expression as he did in the last volume.
He's still processing that he's the bath man.
He is the bath man.
What is Ukari? Top left. There's no translation.
No idea.
It was shown last volume.
You mean bath?
It's actually a silly fun fact. The Marine who scratched Morgan's statue, his name was also Ukari.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do something to such a great man.
So So maybe this is named in his honor.
Maybe.
Oh wait, no, it's the manga uses a pure hiragana rendition of Ukari as Gidatsu's catchphrase, referencing its fighting style and bizarre personality. Looks means careless or floaty.
Oh, okay.
Even called translated as carelesso.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
Sounds about right.
All right, so moving on to the next chapter. Chapter 348, Fighting Power. Time is running out before the whole building goes up in flames. Robin turns to take her leave, but Luffy won't allow it to end this way. He runs to stop Robin, but is intercepted by Bluno, who uses an iron body to absorb his attacks. Luffy then launches a flurry of attacks which Bluno dodges seamlessly, using the paper art technique. Luffy, determined to reach Robin, fires a gum bullet, which hits nothing but air as Bluno seems to disappear. Then using the moonwalk technique, Bluno leaps into the air drawing Luffy's attention as Kaku and Khalifa land a synchronized Tempest kick, sending Luffy flying. Zoro launches a counterattack and his blade is met by Kaku's chisel. The two trade blows as Luffy gets to his feet again, pleading with Robin to talk things through. But Shuri coldly replies, "No, it's over." Luffy advances again, trying to reach Robin before she leaves through the window. Zoro yells to Luffy, telling him to hurry, but in doing so takes his eyes off his opponent, giving Kaku an opening to land a finger pistol, dropping Zoro. As Robin goes to leap out the window, Luffy lunges for her, but is intercepted by Lucci, and like that, Robin is gone. Lucci chucks Luffy into the wall and goes on to explain to the Straw Hats that CP9 is the world government's most elite fighting force. They are no match against them. Lucci, confident this is the Straw Hats' final moments, decides to show him something special and begins to transform. All right. Yeah. So
Okay, now we have all six.
Now we get all six. Yeah.
Now we get all six.
We see the paper art technique.
Paper. That was the last one.
Seems to be handling all of Luffy's tricks.
Yeah, they're not doing so hot here.
Yeah, it's impressive seeing somebody standing their ground against Luffy who's not a Devil Fruit user. They're just like really good.
I just trained a bunch.
Martial art. Yeah.
Like Luffy, like even when he can land a hit, it doesn't do anything. And then when he his other attacks just don't even connect. So he's like definitely outmatched here.
Yeah, they seem to have an answer for everything. And they're coordinated.
Yeah.
There's a moment where they do some teamwork.
When Kaku and Khalifa.
Yeah, they come in with a Tempest kick. When Bluno like jumps up in the air and Luffy's looking up, they come in and take him down.
Double Tempest kick.
CP9 doesn't fool around. Not their first rodeo.
It's almost like they do this for a living.
Yeah, professionally.
Man, the CIA seems really good at being the CIA.
Right.
I didn't know they had martial arts abilities. They don't want me to, but I just didn't know. They're really good at their job. Lucci literally holding Luffy by the face.
Seems a bit excessive.
He's a sadist.
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool moment when Zoro realizes that the Tempest kick is a cutting attack. Like he spots it as a cutting attack and tells Chopper and Nami to duck right before like the wall's cut in half.
It's like, oh, this is a job for me.
Not even the wall. Like,
does somebody cut? That's my opponent.
I know what that is.
Yeah, then he clashes with Kaku.
Yeah.
Who says that? I was serious. I know my stuff. Like your ship really is. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not shipping no more.
Right.
Nah, it's still a piece of shit, dude. It's like from a moment where you're like, which honestly at this point is for the best. It's like, God forbid he was like, no, actually it was in perfect shape. It would have been fine. That would have been really awful.
I damaged it myself.
Oh God.
But even Zoro is bested here.
Yeah. He takes his eyes off his
prize.
opponent and that's all it took.
And was there ever a point where you wanted Kaku to join the crew? Like before we knew he was a bootlicker?
Well, I mean, that thought definitely crossed my mind, right? Because we were, going to the shipbuilding island to find a shipwright, and we meet this really strong gang of characters who are all super quirky and weird and like could totally fit into the crew. So yeah, I was definitely like They're like, I wonder if any of these people are going to become, crew members down the line.
So
yeah,
good.
I like Kaku as a character. I did like Kaku as a character, so I was betrayed.
We only had enough room for one long-nosed person on the ship.
I know,
Now
right?
there is an opening now. I hate to say it, but
I don't know, circular nose, square nose. They could get like someone with a long triangle nose, and then they'd have the trifecta.
Wait, he's on to something.
Yeah, in this chapter, we also see Robin makes her exit,
See ya.
which sucks.
Yeah, it's over. I won't be seeing you again.
Yeah,
it's like we get it. Jeez.
yeah, right.
Rub it in.
Slowly pulling the Band-Aid
I never
off.
liked your food anyways. Your flag is stupid.
We'll allergic to goats, even if the mastheads.
Yeah, it was still hard to see. I feel like with in the same way with Usopp's face off with Luffy, I was holding on for hope like the whole time. I'm just like waiting for the the tide to turn and for Robin to underhand the CP9 and come back and rejoin the crew, but it just doesn't. Again, it doesn't happen. And she leaves pretty coldly.
Yeah, she's trying to leave no room for interpretation or read
Right.
between the lines. She's like, no, this is flat out this is it. And then at the end we get a little tease for Lucci's powers.
Yep. Which is not good because they're already on the ropes. They're already struggling. They haven't really landed any blows, and now things seem to be going from bad to worse.
Let's remove all hope.
Yeah, right.
For real though,
this is what in video games term I would call a win more.
It's like you're fighting the boss. He's all of your healing items and your recovery things, all your power up things, and it's like you think you're gonna beat the boss, and then they have a whole nother stage. The life bar just refills completely, and it's all right, time for the second phase. Except this is the part where it's you didn't even get rid of the boss's first health bar, and he just has another one already.
Yeah, you've used all your moves, and now. And you haven't done any damage.
Basically, every time Joel beats me in the One Piece card game.
Not very often.
No, you took some good ones off me yesterday. I'm still.
It's pretty even.
Didn't feel even.
All right. So, anything else on this one? All right, moving on. All right, so next we'll get Cody's summary for the next chapter.
Chapter 349, Ordinary Citizen. As the galley law building burns, Lucci reveals a hulking, monstrous form thanks to his devil fruit, the cat fruit, model leopard. Khalifa knows that some of the workers are approaching Iceberg's bedroom, and Lucci performs a tempest kick, powerful enough to split the entire building. The Straw Hats dodge the falling debris, and Polly tries to rescue Iceberg from the building, telling Lucci that he still feels like their comrades. Instead of reciprocating, Lucci prepares to attack Polly and Luffy punches him. With the claws granted to him by his leopard form, Lucci is able to impale Luffy with a finger gun and then throws him through the wall and off the building. Zoro tries to avenge Luffy but can't slice Lucci's iron body and is sent flying like his captain. Outside, the workers look on and notice that Nami has fallen from the building, unconscious. They decide to arrest and interrogate her. Iceberg's room is engulfed by flames, with the mayor and Polly still inside, tied to each other and unable to move. The four members of CP9 watch from a nearby rooftop, confident that no one would believe a word spoken by pirates, and ready to confront Frankie.
All right, thoughts on this one?
This is a super cool reveal. I love the character design of the cat fruit. And this is our first time seeing a carnivorous Zoan type. Which I think it's cool that was a distinction, that Chopper kind of points out. That, what does he say? Zoan types grow more ferocious, and that Zoan type devil fruit users, it enhances their abilities that they have naturally. So in this specific situation, not good news, knowing how skilled Lucci is in the six powers. So
Yeah,
a
like Sean
fearsome
was
foe
saying,
indeed.
like Sean was saying, this is like so Winmore.
It really is
Yeah.
Winmore, dude. It's just
Yeah.
like you don't even need this. You're just teabagging now. Like
Yeah,
Stop it! He's already
He
dead.
loves it.
he's so huge. Like,
I need my overtime.
He's a big boy.
yeah, the leopard model looks dope though.
Yeah,
I
it's a pretty cool
love the
design.
look. Yeah.
It's also nice that his suit grows proportionate with him as well.
Yep.
Instead of ripping apart like Incredible Hulk style. It's like no, like you get to keep your clothes, so you get a fancy little suit with like your cat,
Hat.
your cat.
Hat still fits.
Yeah, the hat shouldn't still work, but it really does.
It really does.
Like for
It does.
the outfit, it's
Yeah, I think the character design was well done.
And Hattori is not intimidated, even though he's a bird. He still feels safe with Lucci. So
I'm happy for Hattori. If nothing else, if he's happy, I'm happy.
and once again crying for Polly, as always.
Yeah, Paulie's having a bad day.
not even just Paulie, but the whole Galileo company building is going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how Luffy still calls Lucci pigeon guy as he punches like a leopard.
That is
leopard.
the one. I think that is
Yeah.
the one bit of damage Luffy does during this particular stage of the fight. It's just like
Yeah.
in the back of Lucci's mind, it's like, motherfucker, just come on. Like he's got to be slightly annoyed with that. That is the one
Yeah.
bit of psychic damage he does.
He lands one sucker punch before he's impaled again. I mean, how many times has Luffy been impaled?
Ooh, yeah. This is a pretty rough
Directly
one,
through the center of the chest. I feel like this is probably his third impaling.
Like this, I bet there's just like a spot in his organs now. Like they're just like, okay, fine, we'll move out of the way. So it's just like a clean break. Like he's evolved.
Yeah.
we know it's coming.
We know it's coming.
Yeah, Luffy just gets tossed around like a doll.
Literally.
So yeah, Luffy gets like blasted away, and then like Zoro gets blasted away.
Chopper
Looks
saves
like,
Nami.
looks like Team Straw Hat is blasting away again.
They don't need a ship. They need a balloon.
Yeah, exactly.
They went to the wrong island.
They went to the wrong island.
Yeah, we see Chopper like sacrificially save Nami,
Yeah,
throwing her out of harm's way and getting crushed under debris.
yeah, definitely crushing. Yeah, I felt so bad at that point. Now we have like Iceberg and Polly still in the burning building as it goes up in flames.
With Tyrannosaurus, the mouse, just going. Eek,
So
you
cute.
can't do
I
anything.
didn't
Oh, buddy.
realize.
Yeah, I didn't
I
see
just
it.
noticed that. Oh, buddy. Everything sucks for everyone, even the cute
Yeah.
little mouse.
Like the mouse could have been like trying to like flee and like try to like save itself, but like he's staying with his master.
Who got him yesterday?
Yeah. Well, 2 days ago at this point, I think, right?
Oh, has it been two? Might have been.
Yeah, it would have been 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. But still, very, very short
Yeah.
period of time.
It's charismatic. Iceberg's charismatic. Like, good on him. And this last spread.
Oh, yeah. The
Oh,
last
that's a
spread is
cool
so cool. The
Yeah.
silhouettes.
Like we did a good job as the building burns down. It's like, oh, let's go find Cutty Planet.
Yeah.
Well, our
No
job
citizen's
here-
going to defy the world government now. We've done our job.
Especially if they think the Straw Hats did it.
Oh boy,
Rude.
rude.
Weird. It's giving Emperor Nero.
Okay, all good to move on.
Yeah.
Ready.
Okay, moving on. Chapter 350, The Warehouse Under the Bridge. As the galley lot building burns, Kokoro watches on with Chimney. She hopes Iceberg is all right, aware of the terrible thing he's been hiding. CP9 searches the city looking for Frankie when they come across his underlings. They defeat them and confirm Frankie's hideout in the warehouse under the bridge. At Frankie's hideout, Frankie is brought to tears upon hearing Usopp's story that he would go so far to protect the ship that he left his crew. They mutually decide to call things even and not to hold a grudge, but that may be easier said than done. Frankie invites Usopp to become his underling, but Usopp declines, stating he is still a pirate after all. The Mary has been brought into the warehouse, so it'll be safe from the rising tides of the Aqua Laguna, which causes the ocean level to rise each year, though the island itself is sinking. The townspeople used to fear being wiped out by the tide until the invention of the sea train Puffing Tom, which was all possible because of the genius Shipwright Tom. Frankie inquires what Usopp's plans are after this. Usopp plans to take the ship on an adventure of his own and eventually return to the East Blue. Frankie tells him this is not happening. He confirms Galliola's assessment that the ship can't be repaired, so he offers to dismantle it. Who wants to start off on this one?
Frankie's reaction to Usopp is me throughout the entire arc. Too much.
Yeah, I love seeing Frankie warm up to Usopp.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it's a little bit mutual. It seems like they're kind of warming up to each other.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, but not fully. It seems like they're still holding a little bit of a grudge.
I stand by. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say they're both a bit short-tempered. But no, back to what you were saying.
Oh, you're good. What was I gonna say? I still maintain that the Luffy Usopp argument in the kitchen is my favorite scene writing, but like this entire Frankie Usopp conversation over the course of these next couple chapters is definitely up there with it for me.
That's some good stuff.
I will kill you.
Yeah.
See, they get along just fine.
They get along great.
How many 180s can one guy flip, attitude-wise?
He just inspired a new one. He'll have to call it the Pirate's Code.
Yeah, so Frankie's being inspired to write some songs, and Usopp's on there. His titles are a little bit on the nose, like Usopp's nose.
Oh.
And my jokes.
Get some allusions to a genius shipwright named Tom.
Which it's not. No, I was starting to say this, but you got like names like Paulie, and it's like there's normal names in One Piece too, but it's still funny. I suppose it's partially because it's my dad's name, so it's just like, hello, I am a famous shipwright. My name is Dave.
But Cutty Flam wasn't.
Yeah, Cutty Flam's pretty good. Yeah,
Cutty Flam's a great name.
That's a great name.
It is, yeah.
Tom is just a name.
But it's a shame that he went to Frankie, and he has such a cool name.
Like, that's hilarious to me. In fact, like when he's like the boss of the underground, this crazy ship, this crazy dismantler, bounty hunter that's just in a Speedo in the streets dancing. Everyone hates him. It's like, oh, hey, Frankie. So it's like Cutty, Flam, that madman, like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Frankie kind of does feel like the vibes work with like Frankie family. Like he's trying to be inviting, so he feels like the cool uncle, or the cool big brother. So I feel like he gives that vibe. So I think he's trying to reinvent himself a little bit, Yeah. So at the beginning of the chapter, we see Kokoro looking on to the fire,
still smiling.
Nothing can phase her.
Always.
But
she seems to know. Yeah, she seems to know something.
She says, I do hope Iceberg's all right, but he's been hiding things that don't belong in this or any world. So yeah, she seems to know a thing or two.
Certainly does.
Good comedy from the Frankie family too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still trying to get the Straw Hats to show up. And then Uchi shows up in disguise. Because they would recognize him, presumably, if he didn't have his mask on. Like, oh, what's the shipwright doing here?
Right.
You can talk?
He owns
There we
clothes
go.
that aren't wife beaters.
Lucci, is that you? We can tell it's you. We can see your facial hair. It's pretty distinct.
The top hat and the suit.
The top hat, yeah.
Yeah.
The hair. I mean, he's not trying that hard.
No. Definitely not as conspicuous as the bull mask. I'll give him that. Just brutal what he does to the Frankie family there.
Yeah, the close up of the one dude, the bowling ball man or whatever, is like the snot and blood coming out of his mouth and his nose at the same time. It's just like there's a certain level of like grisly realism there that's just like ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't the government like handcuffing people. This is like a brutal beatdown.
Yeah, just jumping back to the exchange with Frankie and Usopp. I thought it was funny how he says, "Call it Hannah Banana and shake hands on it." I want to start using that.
Don't you mean even Steven, bro?
Yeah, it's even Steven, bro.
Hannah Banana.
Whatever.
Hannah Banana.
Did you look up the Steven's translation for that? I'm curious if he did something different.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think to. That's a good
I didn't.
good
either.
question
Add it to the
though.
list.
Hannah Banana works perfect.
Yeah.
It's great. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
So good.
And we also find out that the island or the city is sinking, so the water level is rising each year. So that's
Seems
also something
bad.
to take note of.
It's global warming, even in the world of One Piece.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this one?
No.
Okay, let's move on. Chapter 351, Klabautermann. Frankie offers to help dismantle the Mary, but Usopp won't allow it. They begin to argue. Frankie says that a ship that can no longer fulfill its purpose is no longer a ship, and proceeds to tear off the railing of the Mary. Usopp retaliates with an exploding star. Frankie counters by throwing Usopp into the air and spiking him into the water, giving him a good look at the keel. Underwater, Usopp can see the cracked keel and the patches holding the ship together. Despite of this, Usopp immediately begins to repair the broken railing and assures Mary everything is going to be alright. Frankie continues to tell him it's a lost cause, and Usopp breaks down, confessing he's known all along about the dire condition of the ship. Usopp recalls the night in Skypiea at the sacrificial altar. He heard hammering in the night and saw a small figure repairing the ship. Usopp heard, or maybe felt the words, "It's alright. I'll carry everyone a little bit further," as though the Mary were speaking to him. Usopp realizes how unbelievable this sounds, but surprisingly, Frankie finds it believable. Moreover, he believes he knows what the mysterious figure is called. Klabautermann is a legend passed down among sailors, of a spirit who lives on well-tended ships and is said to warn sailors before misfortune befalls them. So maybe Usopp's not crazy. Just then, the doorbell rings. It's CP9, and they are not here to deliver pizza. Yeah, so I kind of want to start with Evan on this one.
Yeah, this is a great chapter. Like we were talking about before, Frankie and Usopp's interactions here are awesome. But I feel like they're both super determined in this. You know, Frankie wants to help, and Usopp wants to help the Mary. They both have like their heart in the right place, but it comes off violent, and they both are like super passionate about what they're trying to do. Meanwhile, I love Kiwi and Mozu's like the small role that they play and like the reaction that they're having throughout this whole sequence. And then it leads up to Frankie hitting Usopp under the water to get a better view of the bottom of the ship. And there's this like, it seems like a tough pill to swallow for Usopp in that moment. And he then later reveals that he knew the Mary was done for the whole time, which was a shock to me. Like I definitely didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
It didn't surprise me like after the fact, because like of course he knew it's Usopp. Like he's been taking care of the Mary this whole time. Like of course he knew. But I hadn't had that realization. But it's such a gut-wrenching moment, you know. Like the face that he makes when he admits this to Frankie is pretty forlorn. And and then we pretty much immediately get the flashback from Skypiea, which it looks very familiar, and I definitely remember this moment happening. And I also forgot about this moment happening. Like it kind of just went unexplained, and I didn't really question it.
Yeah.
So when it came back, I was like, "Oh my god, yes, I totally remember this." Like, and I was curious who that was, and it's such a cool explanation. And when Usopp recalls this moment and is like, "I know how crazy this sounds," but Frankie's like, "It's not crazy at all." Like, I know not only do I know. Not only have I heard that before, but I know exactly who that is. And it's this cool explanation of kind of like the spirit of the ship, or almost like an embodiment of the Mary, which is such a cool, like folk tale come to life kind of story. And just kind of highlights the bond that they had with their ship, and how, this is almost like their ship speaking to them, which is so cool.
Yeah, so this is like a nice way to tie it back to that moment of Skypiea, to explain what happened, because they said that it seemed like somebody was like working on the ship like during the night, and like Usopp remarks like, "Oh, it's weird that they knew exactly what that Mary looked like who would do this?" Because like Mary wasn't restored to like the flying form, was restored to its regular form. So we finally get the explanation for what exactly was that. So it was the Klabautermann, which is like you said, is like the spirit that kind of like it visits like the ships that are like well tended to and like cared for by its crew. Yeah, so it's like, but it's like a legend that like Frankie was aware of and kind of explains to Usopp. So yeah, I thought that was like a cool little reveal.
That was a cool reveal, and I also feel like it strengthens Usopp's bond with the Mary, because it felt like he had a personal message from Mary Go, being like, like, I'll carry you guys a bit further. Like, I'll, hold it together for you. And so I feel like, I know it's pretty great.
But like the fact that like the Mary was kind of saying like, I'll carry you a little further. Like it also sounds like, it's a limited time. It's like,
right.
Like I'm not gonna bring you to the end of your journey. It's like, I'll do what I can, but like it's like I'm kind of at my limit here, So that alone kind of tells you like where the Mary is at.
Yeah. And it is cool kind of putting that into perspective, like having seen what the Mary's been through, literally sailing in the clouds, sailing up a mountain, like all this kind of crazy, intense labor for the ship.
Yeah. I feel like throughout the series, like we've seen like the Mary like go through quite a bit of abuse. Like we've seen like the railing getting destroyed. Like they took like campfire, got like when they were surrounded like in Alabasta, like the black cage, like harpoons got like stuck in it, like going to Reverse Mountain, like the mask came off. Like it's like the Mary like has been through quite a bit.
For sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Sean, did you have stuff to add there?
Yeah, I honestly had completely forgotten about this part with the spirit and so it was like, oh right, this is the whole explanation for that. It's cool, and I love that it ties back together with Usopp, and it feels like the one win Usopp has had, even if it's retroactive, this like whole arc pretty much is just like everything is going terribly for him, back and forth to find before finally someone's like, actually you're pretty cool, dude. Like, and you're so cool that the ship likes you that much. or something. So
Yeah.
it's like the one good thing that happens to him this whole time. I'm sure it's about to get much better for him though with their new visitors. They're going to be really nice to him, but
And he kind of does like get like an ally in Frankie, but then also like an antagonist at the same time. Because like there's like a little back and forth, like go to saying like a bunch of like 180s, because like Frankie like sympathizes with him and respects him for like how well he took care of the ship, but at the same time he's like, dude, you gotta like face reality here. Like, you know, the ship is like done for. We gotta do what we need to do. Like, you know, the ship wouldn't want to carry you to your death. So, you know, you also think about the ship, like how the ship feels here.
Which is a really nice
parallel. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, I think we're on the same point. I want to hear yours.
Are you going to say the parallel with Luffy and Robin? Like Luffy's like steadfast, like not accepting Robin leaving, and Usopp's like not accepting the end of Mary, kind of like in almost like back-to-back chapters, like almost in similar ways. Like in this one, you know, like Usopp, he knows the fate of the ship. He's known the whole time. And even like right before he makes his confession, he's trying to patch up the railing that Frankie just ripped off. And with Luffy, it's like Robin's like, I'm done. Goodbye. And he's still chasing her out to the window, like being like, no, I don't buy it. Like, we need to, this isn't over. This isn't it. And I feel like they're both struggling to let go of a close friend in their own way.
I was not, but that's amazing. And I'm glad. I love that. I didn't even think about that. That's nice.
Cody, what was your point?
I don't know. After that, I don't even know. I was trying to say something about how just like the altercation between Luffy and Frankie, or Usopp and Frankie, feels like a nice contrast to the Luffy versus Usopp fight, because it is that same central issue, but Frankie's able to come at it at a more, I don't want to say compassionate, but a more understanding place of where Usopp is. And even tries to give him some credence of, okay, hey, this ship does care about you. It is in human form, but like, this is what's best for everyone.
Right.
Whereas with Luffy, it was just like, this is what's best for us, the crew. But Frank, it's like, this is for the ship too, you know? Like, if you care about it, then like, come on, man. No, you don't get it? Okay, we're going to fight now.
Yeah. The ship does care about you, so much so that it took on a human form and told you that. Like, how cool.
And he gives a better explanation of like what's going on with the Mary than Kaku or Polly or any of the like as far as like just like the technical specifications and like giving a layman an understanding of like just how severe that damage is.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm looking for a professional to give my ship a diagnostic, I take Frankie at that point, like the way he says it.
Yeah, and then like the way that Frankie also explains the Klabautermann, he says it's also like it's a warning. So if you see the Klabautermann, it's like, hey, like we care about you, like the ship cares about you, and it's like we don't want anything bad to happen to you. So it's like before like the misfortune happens, it's like the Klabautermann would kind of show up as like a warning. So it's like it's like kind of like a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. It's like it's good that like it's there to warn you, but it's bad that it means that like, you know, there's something bad happening.
Right. And back to Cody's point, like Frankie's explanation, which is, like you said, a good one. This is the first time that Usopp's hearing it, because Usopp only heard Luffy say the Shipwright said it was like they didn't go into detail. They just said that, you know, they said the ship is no longer functioning, or it is at the end of its road, and he didn't get any kind of explanation until now.
Right.
Even though it turns out he didn't even need it because he already knew himself, but still.
Right.
At least he can be like, all right, this is a trusted, you know, person.
Yeah.
Who's like Usopp, like a quick
business transaction.
Yeah, like Usopp, like not willing to like let the ship go. Like he's like working on it compulsively. It's like it feels like almost like in his head, like if I keep working on it, then like I could pretend that like everything's okay.
Right.
So it's kind of doing it, I think, more for himself than anything.
Yeah.
It comes back to him yelling, "The pirates are coming!" back in Serpent Village. You know, it's that same kind of thing he does.
That's true.
And just this page of him under the water.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so good, beautiful.
All right. Anything else on this one?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Let's move on to Cody's summary for the next chapter.
Chapter 352, Tom's Workers. Frankie's puzzled by the visitors approaching from the ocean side, since Zombi and the others would have come in from the front. Moses supposes that they could have brought the Straw Hats, but Usopp says they wouldn't come for him anymore. Frankie tells Usopp to go back to the crew and offers to dismantle the Mary to relieve Usopp's burden. Usopp refuses, and Frankie points out that the Mary itself wouldn't want to carry the Straw Hats in vain to disaster. Usopp stands firm and likens Frankie's approach to abandoning a dying friend. As they start to argue, Khalifa swiftly knocks Mozu and Kiwi out. Frankie immediately goes on the offensive, grappling with Bluno. He seems to have the upper hand at first, but as Bluno prepares to surprise him with a finger gun, Lucci intervenes and reminds Bluno that they need Frankie alive, for the moment. Lucci tells Frankie the group's true identities, their motive, and the fact that they know who Frankie is. Frankie asks if Iceberg's doing well, and Lucci coldly says they killed him. Lucci demands the blueprints, and Frankie attacks him, but Lucci easily overpowers him and knocks him through the wall and into a hidden drafting room. The CP9 members start searching and notice nameplates for Iceberg and someone named Tom. Frankie commands them not to touch the plates and tells them the world's greatest shipbuilder used to work in that room.
Well, it wasn't pizza delivery. It was CP9.
It was
Damn.
DiGiorno.
It was your government.
Do you think they've ever gone undercover as the delivery people?
That'll be the next job.
Yeah, right.
5 years undercover delivering pizza.
Yeah, it's a
Honestly,
brutal.
they kill it. Sorry, keep going.
No, I was gonna say CP9 is so strong. We haven't really seen them face much adversity, and they've fought some pretty solid opponents. In Luffy, Zoro, Frankie, very professional there.
Yeah, and I bet the moonwalk is how they deliver the pizza so fast too. They never delivered a pizza late. Or Bluno can use his door fruit and be like, "Yo, pizza's here."
Yeah,
the pizza's on your table.
I rang the bell.
Bluno calls out sick. They have shave. They can cut the pizza with Tempest Kick.
Oh my god, they've got it all figured out.
They're using these martial arts for the wrong purpose.
Right? It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that'll be the next cover story.
That's the OC I wish I made in middle school.
Yeah, so CP9 shows up and they're looking for the blueprints and they're not taking no for an answer. They rough Frankie up a little bit and they tell him that Iceberg's been killed. So pretty brutal.
Yeah.
The sweat dripping down Frankie's face as he hears that.
Because he kind of asks too.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "So is Iceberg doing okay?" He was curious. He did want to know, and he looks pretty shocked when he finds out they killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Then we immediately get a silhouette of Tom, and then at the end of this chapter, we get to see Tom for the first time.
He's
and in front of
picture.
And in front of Tom, we see Iceberg and Frankie, who remind me a lot of Sanji and Zoro in that photo.
Oh, I could see it.
Yeah.
Just like that sibling rivalry vibe. And Iceberg kind of looks like Zoro with the bandana.
Yeah.
Never thought of that. That's neat.
Couple more familiar faces in that photo, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, huh?
I'm a really big fan of the sequence of Lucci kicking the crap out of Frankie. Just the fact that on the one page we literally see it from Frankie's perspective as his eyes are closing.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool decision.
That was cool. And then Lucci is smirking too. It looks like he's enjoying this.
Yeah.
Pigeon bastard.
Yeah, and they call him Cutty Flam, so he knows that they know his true identity. And they explain that they're here for the blueprints for the ancient weapon.
Well, we could just hand those over and we're good to go.
Seem to be getting everything they want so far. Everything seems to be going their way.
Yeah, and I like how we see the drafting room, like when Frankie gets knocked through the wall. There's like the hidden drafting room. And like they go through and they can see like the work desks and they see like nameplates, and like Cutty Flam has his nameplate over there.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the photo was of Tom's workers.
The pieces are coming together.
Oh yeah. I'm starting to feel for this Frankie guy. I also just really do like the explanation he gives to Usopp at the beginning about how would the ship feel if your stubbornness caused it to sink.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd be putting that burden on the ship that you care about so much.
Mm-hmm.
And like I love how like throughout the conversation too is like it keeps like, kind of cutting back to the Mary, and like the Mary just always has like a smile on his face, but like it's like tragic in that way, you know. It's like the Mary can only smile as like this like terrible discussion is happening, and it's like really devastating, and all the Mary can do is just kind of sit there and smile.
Yeah.
It's also like you ever have someone like say something about you where it's like, oh hey, this person just understands me. They really get where I'm coming from. I feel like that's what Frankie's kind of doing for the Mary in a sense.
Yeah. Trying to put it into perspective for Usopp. Like from the Mary's perspective, yeah. Kind of giving almost like a voice to the Mary in a way. Like beyond like the Klabautermann.
Right, right.
Yeah. Besides like the literal voice from the ship.
Yeah, like they're arguing the whole time, but they both have like their heart in the right place. Like they both want what's best for the Mary.
Yeah.
And Frankie's just able to discuss it in a way that Luffy just personally can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though Luffy is great at reading people and understanding emotions, it's not his area.
Right. And Frankie's the perfect person. And he believes the story, which I thought was a cool moment they had last chapter when he was like, yeah, I believe you. That you're not the first person to say that.
Hey, any other thoughts on this one? Okay, let's move on.
Cool.
Chapter 353, The Legendary Shipwright. Frankie refuses to give up the location of the blueprints, so CP9 tries to persuade him by force. When Frankie still refuses to talk, Luchi tells him they have a trump card. He has committed a crime just like Tom did. Frankie shouts that Tom wasn't a criminal. 22 years ago. A young Frankie tests his battleships in the waters and is scolded by his fellow apprentice Iceberg for wasting his time. The master shipwright Tom completes building a ship by throwing it into the air, tossing the masts like javelins into respective slots, and lands in the water fully assembled. Tom with his apprentices head inside the workshop and enjoy a meal with their secretary Kokoro and pet sumo frog Yokozuna. Order 7 is struggling with pirates disrupting trade with nearby islands. The shipyards compete for the few customers they have and fight each other. Order 7 used to be known for its shipbuilding, which Frankie remarks that Tom created the most awesome pirate ship ever during that time. Tom corrects him and says pirate ships are not created. It is up to the sailors as to what to do with them. Overnight, Tom continues to work on designing a project that he feels can help save Water 7. The next day, a judicial ship arrives and takes Tom aboard for the crime of creating the Oro Jackson, the ship of the Pirate King Gold Roger. He'll be transported to Enies Lobby, where he will be executed.
All right. The backstory. Here we go. We all knew it was coming. I mean, look at this.
Oh, because of the
Right?
you mentioned that before. Yeah.
You're like, oh, here it comes. The backstory's coming. Well, before we get into the backstory, we see CP9 dealing with Frankie, which is pretty brutal. I mean, like, I feel like we've seen CP9's tactics now and the way that they conduct themselves. And although they're very to the point and like, I don't know, very driven towards their goal, they're like super brutal. The way they go about it is really brutal. Like they're just like leaving a trail of bodies in their wake and just like destroying buildings, like blowing buildings up, like kicking buildings in half, leaving piles of bodies as like behind them. Like they're just like causing a lot of violence everywhere they go.
Yeah, after 5 years, their patience has worn out.
Yeah, like they really flicked the switch, huh? Like they seemed like pretty personable people before, and now they're like stone cold killers.
They also have to like consider like the Aqua Lagoon is like happening tonight as well. So like
true,
they really are on the clock.
Urgency. Yeah, that's true.
But also, tidal waves can clear the evidence for them, so they can go a little crazy.
True.
Lucci's taking another win more here. He kicks the desk.
Yeah.
Even though he knows it's not gonna get him anything, but just to piss Frankie off.
Like, well, hey, it could be in here. Oh, sorry, it wasn't there.
Yeah. Sorry.
Jerk. And Caulifla using like the thorns.
Yeah.
On Frankie's pretty rough. And then like Lucci really gets under Frankie's skin here, where he's like, oh, like, yeah, we have a crime on you, just like Tom, and that really gets him going. Which brings us into the flashback.
Yep. Where we see young Frankie, young Iceberg, and official instruction to Tom, who is a fish man.
Mm-hmm. He's a fish man.
I like how specific they were. A long-horned cowfish. We get to see a familiar sumo wrestling frog.
Yeah.
Bit younger.
Yeah.
And an also familiar Kokoro.
Still fucking smiling. And even if possible, weirder looking.
Yeah. I love how beautiful secretary is in quotes. She's a beautiful secretary. That was rude, Oda.
No, that's just the position that she's filling.
Yeah.
That's her official work title.
Gotcha.
And then Yokozuna was Tom's pet.
Buddy.
Yep. Yeah, all these characters that we've already met are coming back.
Yeah.
I love how Oda does that. Like, I love how we're getting that backstory and we're like getting the full story behind these characters. And like,
right.
We dive into this backstory and we already know how like all the characters, which is really cool.
Yeah, like we met like Kokoro and Yokozuna at Shift Station. And I feel like when you first meet them, like, because like you see them and they'll start to leave, it's like, okay, like you don't really think they're probably going to come back into the story, or at least like not like some kind of significant way. But like, yeah, like so the characters are still around, and like even like just recently we just saw Kokoro and like Chimney looking on the fire. So like, yeah, like these characters are still around, but like I feel like they have more significance than we initially would have thought, like when we were introduced to them.
Yeah, and it's like a pleasant reveal to then see them in the past and like, oh, I recognize that person. I know this person. Yeah. It's kind of adds like like you said, like a fun layer to their characters.
Yeah.
And they have all these connections that we just didn't anticipate at first. And I was thinking that like that's one of the other things I really like about Water 7, because you've got the Frank family, you got Galilei, you've got Kokoro and Ship Station and Tom, and they're in the same place, but like they are like these different factions of sorts. And it feels like the levels of interconnectedness and relationships between them is on the same level as something like, the Alabaster Baroque works, or like all those different pieces he set up in that whole first big saga of the Grand Line. But this has been like, what, 4 volumes?
I think so.
It's all coming together, not to mention
same
like
part 6, but I think that's including the 2 from Long Ring, Long Land.
Yeah. And that to me is just really impressive, how he's been able to flesh it out and even like make it so, here's the thing that needs to be fleshed out, and do it so well. And
right.
It's it's so tight storytelling wise.
I agree. Yeah, I love that storytelling, and it's also it's becoming a trend too, right? We're seeing this in like every major arc where we get this flashback sequence now. I love it. It's like Joel said, like it really rounds out the characters. It really gives a lot of depth to, like, in this case, the world, because we're seeing like the world of Water 7, and the characters, like we're getting like the full picture, which is really cool.
I think it's interesting too, like how Oda's been like really diving into these flashbacks of like secondary characters. Like in Skypiea, we had like the flashback with Noland and Kalgara. So like that was not involving any of like the main characters. And like
Right.
over here, we have like now like a flashback here of like secondary characters, and it's like compared to like Alabaster, where we had like a few pages for like Vivi and like Koza, like their backstory wasn't like nearly as long.
Mhm.
So like now like we're devoting like a few chapters to this backstory. So I think like Oda's like really kind of diving in and giving like these characters like a little room to like really like flesh them out.
Nice.
Love that. We get to see the famous Tom making some ships, which is impressive to say the least.
Got pretty cool technique.
Bro is literally carrying an entire ship over his head with one arm. Then yeets that ship into the air and throws the masts into the ship mid-flight, and then it lands upright in the ocean. Like, damn.
A skill.
Damn. Legendary.
I feel like he's been building ships for a while.
You could say that.
I feel like he'd be really good at baseball.
Javelin.
The discus.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a little bit of his character as well, and he's like immediately like a loving father figure kind of character, like very jolly, very optimistic.
You can see the death flag right away. It's One Piece, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, immediately lovable.
it's not going to end well.
Yeah, and then like Kokoro even like calls him out for like laughing too much.
Mm.
It's like you can hurt yourself like you laugh way too much.
I like this little the characterization we're getting for Frankie and Iceberg. It is very Zoro Sanji in the way that Evan mentioned there, but very much like big brother, little brother at the same time. Like I feel like
Yeah.
it's a very relatable relationship they have.
I would say it does
Sure.
feel more brotherly, whereas like they call each other like names and stuff, but like they but they that's how like what brothers like would fight, right? And like Iceberg calls him like moron key, like
Right.
and like it seems like Frankie's kind of like focused on making weapons, and like Iceberg kind of like calls him out on it's like, hey, like all you do is make weapons, like could you like make something that's like more useful or more productive or less destructive?
Mm-hmm.
And like Tom seems very encouraging. It's like, hey, just like as long as you guys are building stuff, like that's cool. You can build what you want. How about you, Sean?
I love Tom's design. I love
Mm-hmm.
the peek back into like with this such a prosperous, like well-respected place back to what it used to be, of just like this almost like, I don't know, out of the way, middle of nowhere style location. It's quite the change that happened in those years.
Yeah.
Clearly shows you just how smart and how effective whatever Tom made was able to revolutionize this entire like location from like a kind of ramshackle place to the top shipwright thing, almost in like, I guess, like the whatever part of the ocean they're in right now. I've forgotten precisely, but yeah.
Yeah, so like we find out a little bit of backstory of like Water 7, how right now like there is like problems with the trade routes, and like there are pirates that are like interrupting the trades, and like the shipyards are struggling, and there's like infighting. So we found out from like Iceberg, like his deal was like Iceberg was able to unite like the 7 different shipbuilding companies. Where here we can see like what part of the problem was that nobody was getting along. They're all competing with each other, and like basically nobody's winning. So like they're fighting over the like customers, and they're fighting with each other. So right now Water 7 is not in a good place. They're really struggling, and people are on hard times.
It's either tying it to the fact that it's like right after the execution of Roger, or at that place in history.
Oh, it was 22 years ago, yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have micro world building and macro world building at the same time.
Multitasking.
Yeah, so like we find out here as well that Tom is on trial for building Gold Roger's ship, the Oro Jackson. So even though
The what now?
the
The
Oro
Oro
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so we have a name for Roger's ship.
Pretty cool name.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, and I like this the little speech here that Tom gives. How he says to Frankie, "There's no such thing as blueprints for a pirate ship." Because Frankie says like, "It's cool. Oh, you built that awesome pirate ship," and then Tom's like, "It's up to the sailors to decide like what kind of ship it's going to be." So if the sailors decide to put like the skull and crossbones up there, it's a pirate ship. If they fly the seagull flag, it's a navy ship. So it's like just whatever kind of ship it is. Like when you build it, just like make sure it's like with pride, you know.
With a boom.
With a boom, I love
Boom.
that. I love when he
Yeah.
says boom and like it's his
I
thing.
love him. I love him.
It works. It works so well.
Yeah. I couldn't remember how they handled the translation here, but Cody, what was your like familiarity with Tom's phrase like for when you were reading it?
Yeah, so when I was reading it, it was always with a don.
Yeah.
Which is like that sound effect that I think often gets translated. Oh, it's like right here. It's
like doom,
translated as
right?
Doom.
Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also what they use as like a resource in the card game is like the
Mhm.
Don.
I've got some right there actually. There's the kind of don.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yeah, so that's the way that it was. I think the original Japanese would have been, with the Don. When I was reading like the series the first time, that's what I was used to. But then when I watched the like the now Crunchyroll dub, but the Funimation dub at the time, they translate it with gusto. So like do it with gusto. So I think it's interesting like how many different ways people are approaching like his thing, but it's all kind of conveying the same thing. But it's just like the slight variations on how it's being interpreted.
Yeah, I like boom just because it's still like a sound effect. I was expecting like with a bang or something because that feels like more like a phrase people say, but I like boom better now that I think about it.
Yeah,
it feels like it flows better to me.
With a bang somehow feels more aggressive to me. Like I don't know.
Yeah. With gusto was like how I read it. I feel like that was my interpretation when reading it. But I think with a boom is fun because it's kind of like his quirky like catchphrase that he says, And
I think
boom like sounds better with like I'm assuming he has like this super deep voice.
You could hear that. Yeah,
he's got like that deep laugh. He kind of has that like Santa Claus vibe.
Yeah, it's like just the circumference of this guy. That's a boom guy,
Right? No neck, just all
no neck.
No neck.
He took his neck and he put it into a ship.
It's from carrying ships on his head all the time.
Yeah, I think Stephen Paul, I think his translation was with pride. So I think it was just like less percussive, I think, but just more kind of to the point. But in all these cases, like we were saying, it's all like the same like feeling.
Yeah, and Tom uses the word pride a bit.
Yeah,
throughout,
kind of in conjunction with this. So
yeah.
That's the kind of the beauty of it, the fact that like there's so many different ways you could translate it. It gives it more layers.
Yeah. And that's why I mentioned the translation stuff a lot because I just think it's like really interesting because there's different ways to approach it. Like sometimes it's not like a right or wrong thing. It's just like, making a decision and, interpreting it one way. That's how it is. It's not like we can't always translate everything one to one. So we have to find a way that makes sense for the context for the reader. And I think that's just like a really fascinating concept. I really enjoy that aspect of the series. It makes me think about that a lot.
Yeah. Especially in a series like this where everything's so interconnected and there's so much room for like theorizing and interpretation and analysis.
Yeah.
It just adds more food to that feast,
Yeah. Yeah. So we leave this chapter off with not a great thing for Tom, who's expected to be transported to Endy's lobby where he's going to be executed.
Shit.
Yeah, just for creating a ship that happened to become a pirate ship.
That's wholesome.
Brutal.
See, that's wholesome.
Yeah, it's real. Yeah, upstanding citizens, values. Good time.
Okay. Any other thoughts on this one?
Justice for Tom.
Justice for Tom.
Free Tom.
Free Teasy.
All right. Chapter 354, Sea Train. Tom's trial is held on the judicial ship. The judge sentences him to be executed. Before he can be escorted out, he mentions he is building a sea train that will save Water 7. Due to the lack of trade, the island sinking, and the isolation, the city is dying. Tom explains his plans to the judge, who is able to see the benefits of keeping Tom alive, and grants him a 10-year stay of execution. Tom, Iceberg, and Frankie get to work constructing the sea train. After 10 years of overcoming adversity and challenges, the Puffing Tom was complete. Water 7, which was on the brink of collapse, is now saved.
I love this Chopper judo slam. Cover art.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool one.
So good. Chopper's like the size of the bear's head.
He's a little, yeah. He's not like in his heavy point. He's in his
Nope.
brain point. He's
He's
flipping
in
this
his
giant
cube.
bear.
Love it.
Yeah, who wants to start on this one?
Well, the chapter starts off with the judicial ship, which is pretty cool. First time seeing that, and it makes sense for a world of pirates and seagoers to have a floating courthouse. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, make sure justice is being served at anytime, anywhere.
Yeah,
You can't escape justice.
Ingenuity. Gotta love it.
But do they
we'll
have
come
pizza?
to you. Yeah.
Hot, fresh justice, 30 minutes or less.
Or your justice back. Maybe not.
This judge actually seems like a somewhat reasonable person.
Weird.
What?
In the world of One Piece, an authority figure being reasonable.
A judge showing reason? What?
I don't trust it. Unrealistic.
Yeah, I didn't trust it either.
Like One Piece is pretty grounded, but this is just too much.
This is a step too far.
Tom plays it all pretty cool. Like Tom does not lose his cool once.
The boom!
Yeah, it does seem like he.
I'm thinking about the stenographer.
I gotta write down each one of these, man. Like,
how many O's is that?
Can you read that back?
And it'll run with a boom across the tracks.
Yeah, so I mean,
Sorry.
Boom!
Yeah.
I survived. Oh man.
Yeah, it was kind of just like a Hail Mary toss here. It's just kind of like, I hope this works. Like, I have something I've been working on. Like, I want to help Order 7. So if you give me some time to do it, like, I think I can save the city.
Do or die.
it's like a bank robber being put on. Well, I'm not comparing Tom to that level of villainy, but like a bank robber being put on trial and being like, "Wait, I have a great idea for a getaway car. Just give me a few months."
Sorry, we'll just get this guy out of here. No. Wait, let him
Hear him out.
Oh, hear him out.
Let him cook.
What kind of getaway car are we talking about here?
Yeah, because we do see like the sorry state of Water 7. We see some like the citizens here like literally like in the streets like fighting, and everybody looks depressed. So like we're saying, like Water 7 is not in a good spot. And Tom has the idea for a sea train, which seems fantastical. And it's like, can you really do that? And he's like, yeah. if it'll buy me 10 years.
Just give me a casual decade.
Yeah. Real quick, in a jiffy.
It was actually gonna take him like 2 years, but he's like, I could probably get away with 10, right?
Stretch this out a bit.
Yeah, but good on the judge for going along with it. Be like, you know what? Let's give it a try.
I also just love like how in depth Oda went with the just explaining the mechanisms of the sea train.
Mm.
I believe he
I
says,
know
"Oh
I
yeah,
had
the track's
questions.
Yeah,
closed."
to make it believable.
Yeah, so again, like we've talked about in the past, it's like Oda will give an explanation that is kind of like, kind of almost like nonsense, but like it isn't. Like it makes sense like in the context of the world, like in real life, like this wouldn't work this way. But within the universe of One Piece, it makes complete sense, and you buy it and you believe it because like the way he explains it is like, okay, that makes sense in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Without a doubt.
I like seeing Frankie teaching Yokozuna how to do the front crawl, which we saw him doing
You're right.
in the current time.
Yep.
I just love little Frankie in general.
Yeah, he's a little punk.
Yeah.
He's that
Yeah.
kid you knew down
It's
the
like-
street that's always covered in bandages. Like,
Out in
But
the
he's like, he is like,
putting together, like building like fun little like weapons and ships and stuff.
he is very punk though in a way. Like saying, no,
Totally
why should Ton have to make up for anything? You didn't do anything wrong. No,
Mm.
this still isn't fair. Like, come on, people.
Like all you do is make this really cool ship, and you're being punished for it. That's not. It's not.
he
cool.
just made an awesome gun. Come on, y'all. He should be put on. If he should be put on trial for anything, it should for be being too rad.
I do love the montage that we get. Not a 2-page montage, a 4-page montage. I don't think we've ever gotten that much montage. It's a lot of montage.
A little bit, yeah.
Pretty great though.
Yeah, it just kind of shows how hard they worked on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took some time.
10
You know,
years.
Frankie gets how he gets to be part of a unit instead of solely doing his own thing with the weapon.
Yeah, like he's still working on the battle Frankies, like at first, and it's like nobody's really paying attention to him. And then he seems to kind of come around. He's like, all right, well, I'll help you guys with the sea train thing. So he does kind of come around.
Mm-hmm.
Fear my battle Frankies. Such a funny word.
But we also do get a little, just a tiny little bit of information about what happened to Frankie was, he got thrown out of his home. So he had nowhere to go. So he asked Tom to bring him in. So like, he said when I asked, he said his parents tossed him overboard because he was an unmanageable brat. Apparently, they're no good pirates.
Brutal.
So that's pretty rough. Like he was just abandoned, like straight out, like just tossed away by his pirate parents.
No parents at all, I say.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a cool build up and a great payoff at the end when we see the Puffing Tom setting sail or setting steam. Is it
Setting track?
setting track?
Yeah, because we had seen like in the present, like the Puffing Tom was just up and running, so that was like already a thing at the time. So now we see how it came to be. So this is like the history of the Puffing Tom and why it was created.
Puffing Tom Origins coming this summer.
Can we get Dwayne the Rock Johnson to play the fish guy? You see, is he doing anything right now?
No. Dwayne plays the Puffing Tom.
Train the Rock Thompson.
Train the Rock Thompson.
Can you smell what Puffing Tom is cooking?
Wait, or he plays Kokoro.
He just says toot toot.
Toot toot. I like
Or
that.
he plays both.
He plays both.
Mm.
And Yokozuna. And Kokoro.
Yep. Yeah, so the Puffing Tom is now up and running.
Evan, do you recognize anybody in the that last panel of the people looking on?
And the last page, the upper left panel.
Oh no, sorry, the before the last page. The last panel of the, I guess, third to last page with like the 4 people watching.
Oh, that panel. Okay.
Oh, Polly.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up
Good
Polly.
eyes.
Wow,
good
good
eyes.
eyes.
But I did pick
Right, we
up
see him twice.
the next page. There's also 2 people on the next page.
Oh yeah,
Whoa,
nice.
Huey and Mozu.
Yep.
Wow, you guys are good.
Nice.
You guys are good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at Where's Waldo.
Yeah.
Back before they were the Square Sisters.
Yeah, the hair is a little bit less square.
Yeah, what's their story? We never got their backstory. What are they doing with Frankie?
Just you wait.
What's their role?
Yeah.
Who are they? Who are the Square Sisters?
Just let Oda cook. Let Oda cook. all things in due time.
Okay, you guys ready to move on?
Yep.
Ready.
I just want to appreciate a chapter ending on like a positive note for once this arc.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, let
That's-
that enjoy it while it lasts.
I think I will.
Back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's ruin that.
Chapter 355, Spandam. The sea train has been completed, and trade has returned to the region, though Water 7 still finds itself struggling to stay in the black. 3 days before Tom's retrial is set to occur, a government agent named Spandam approaches him with a serious matter, only to find himself in the path of a celebratory cannon blast from the Battle Frankie 35, which has finally managed to take down a Neptunian. While Frankie's proud of nailing his prey, the Neptunian, not the CB5 agent, Iceberg is frustrated and concerned that Frankie isn't considering his responsibility in creating weapons with such destructive power. Spandam recovers and asks to speak with Tom in private, then questions him about the blueprints to Pluton. Tom claims to know nothing of it, especially when Spandam's supposed trump card is just the same crime he's already been tried for 10 years ago. In a bar, Spandam remembers a conversation he had with the 5 elders, who personally gave him permission to seek out the blueprints. Tom calls his apprentices into a private meeting and reveals that he does in fact have the blueprints, entrusts them to Iceberg for safekeeping, and shows them an ominous bounty poster featuring a young Nico Robin. 3 days later, Tom and his workers are confident that he will be acquitted, and even the judge seems carefree about Tom's potential partner. Frankie goes into town to shop, but when he makes his way to the judicial ship, cannons begin firing upon it from a fleet of ships, all bearing Battle Frankie on their sails. Frankie is enraged that his own creations have been used to harm people. Tom and Iceberg set out to stop the ships from causing any more harm as Spandam watches, now ready for the trial to begin.
Spandam. This motherfucker.
This motherfucker right here.
Fucking guy.
I love that his intro panel is him getting like blown up.
It's pretty good. It's the pose he takes. Just like, oh. You know what this guy's about at the start, which is being made to look like a bitch. Just an absolute fucking. Yeah.
For the arms going out, Gator's, oh, I'm a martyr. I'm the best thing that ever happened to you. I'm being blown up for your justice.
I'm the victim here.
I'm the victim here.
What a loser.
Oh god.
Frankie's hitting the pose.
CP5.
Yeah, we get the Frankie pose going super. He finally did get the Neptunian. He was talking about how he was gonna make a ship that could take down Neptunian, and Iceberg called him like, crazy. But he did it.
Big one too.
Yeah, so we get the introduction to CP5, led by Spandam.
Burger delivery service. CP9 handles the pizza. CP5 burgers and fries.
Secret pizza. They have a secret menu.
I love how like Kokoro like calls them out for not realizing that like they're not like up to date on the trial. So like, oh, we know your dirty secret. And it's like, oh yeah, I already got brought to the judge for that. Like we're good. Like we're cool.
These guys are kind of
You're not very good at your
not
job,
all
huh?
there, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
So get some nice Iceberg Frankie development here. Because Iceberg is very much thinking about, okay, here's all the trouble Tom is in for creating a weapon. We need to work around that, but Frankie's just, if anything, leaning further into it. It's starting to come to a head.
We need to double down on this. That'll work.
What we need is more weapons.
I don't know if you have siblings, but like for me, I feel like it's very much like my brother is very much like my dad, and like again, like my like never like it's never this polar, but I can definitely I feel like in a lot of situations, there's always like that one. There's always that one son or daughter or whoever who gets a little close, and everyone's like, "Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Black sheep sort of thing."
Yeah, so Iceberg and Frankie are just like on very different pages when it comes to like how they approach these things. Like Iceberg is saying like, hey, like you're bringing all these things like into existence, like you're responsible like for these weapons. And Tom just kind of laughs it off, is like no big deal. Like yeah, he's just kind of like always let like Frankie kind of slide on this thing.
Literally laughs as Iceberg is berating him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like he sees like his son building ships and being proud of the ships that he builds, and like that's his passion. That's what he likes to do. So he's like supporting him in that.
Yeah.
And he knows that Frankie has good intentions, even though he's building a fleet of highly armored battleships. But man, that moment when Frankie sees his own ships potentially sending his father figure like to his death, like that hit hard. That hit heavy for me. Like as soon as I saw what was happening, I was like, no. I was very like, because at this point I really like I feel like we all really like Frankie, right? Like I feel like at this point we've seen he might be like a bit childish and not fully aware of what he's doing, but I think he's like a likable character.
I mean,
So
he is still literally a child, so like that's understandable.
He's like 12.
Right, he's a kid. Yeah, it's right. It's just like in relation to Iceberg, I guess, and Iceberg's a fair deal older, so
yeah,
older and more mature. But I don't know. This hit really hard when Frankie has that face when he realizes that the Battle Frankies have turned evil or being used for malicious purposes.
He was so at peace when he walked up to the judicial ship. First of many 180s.
Yeah, we see the blueprints are handed off. And it took me a minute to be like, why don't they just destroy them? They're like, no one should have their hands on these, so like, why not just destroy them?
Well, that's the argument, right?
Right. But I feel like maybe the argument against not destroying them is if there is a danger to the world and we do need this to stop that danger, we need to have these blueprints in case, and it's like, who is responsible for holding those blueprints, and that's the debate.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom just kind of like leaves it up to them. It's like, hey, like, this thing could destroy the world, but it's up to you guys to decide what to do with it. He says if things get risky, you can just throw it away if you want. So like, you guys don't need to keep them. You could get rid of it. So he's like letting them be responsible for it. But he does also hand over the bounty poster for Nico Robin, and he also says, let me also just fill you in for the context for like, why this is dangerous. So now we have more information about why Iceberg had the poster for Robin, how he knew about Robin, why he was aware of her. It's because Tom was aware of her and had the wanted poster. So he was like, Iceberg was warned like this long ago about Robin.
The evidence for Robin not being good is stacking up.
I don't buy it.
Being very mysterious and weird and strange and scary.
I don't buy it.
All right. All right, Luffy, calm down.
But we don't get any more information on why.
We do not.
We still have the information from, I think, last volume, or Iceberg does go into a little bit prior to now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no new information.
But yeah, Spandam's aware of the blueprints, and he convinced the 5 elders that like they should try to obtain it. So he essentially gets like the permission from like the 5 elders, which is like crazy that he's going to like this high for the authority.
The very, very top of the government.
Yeah, so it's like you have our permission to go do your thing. So even though this guy seemed like a buffoon, and he was like we see him like getting like attacked, and like we saw like at the beginning like he got like exploded, and then now he has like paint falling on him, and he doesn't know about the trial. Like he's actually like more of a serious like threat than he appears at first.
Mm-hmm. Jerk.
What a jerk.
And he wants to use the ancient weapon to bring an end to the age of piracy. So this is what Luigi was also talking about as well. Why they also want to obtain the ancient weapon.
And then gets a can of paint dumped over his head.
Yeah. This guy's got a bit of Murphy's Law going on.
100%.
Yeah, and then the day of Tom's retrials here, and it seems like things are looking pretty good. Looks like the judge is ready to maybe pardon Tom. So nobody have any complaints over his being pardoned now.
He's so chill.
Yeah, and then that all comes to a crashing halt when Frankie's weapons start attacking the ship.
Yeah.
Hard to watch.
And Spandam says, "Now let the trial begin for Tom's workers."
I don't like this guy.
Oh, he sucks.
All right, any other thoughts on this one?
No.
Okay, let's move on. Chapter 356, Mr. Tom. People flee from the judicial ship as the attack from the battle Frankies continues. Iceberg and Tom jump into the water and board the ships to find out who is manning them, but finds that they have all been abandoned. Tom warns Iceberg to watch out as they're attacked. The two wash up on the shore along with the debris from the wreckage. Frankie is shocked to see Tom has been pierced by one of his own harpoons that was designed not to come out. Iceberg comes to and punches Frankie, blaming him for building such terrible weapons that the government agents were able to abuse. Iceberg has figured out that they're being set up as the culprits and will never forgive Frankie if Tom gets taken away because of him. Tom tells Iceberg not to blame Frankie, and it's not his fault. People arrive at the scene, including Spandam, who takes them in and announces that they are the attackers. Everyone's confused as Tom was surely going to be pardoned for his crime, so they don't understand why he would have done this. The judge is confused as well, as he tells Tom that he would have been pardoned for his previous crime. Frankie yells that it wasn't them and accuses the CP5 agents, to which everyone laughs at how ridiculous that claim is. Spandam says Frankie and his associates were caught on the ships built by his company. Frankie denounces the ships, declaring they aren't his anymore after what they did. This was too far for Tom as he breaks out of his chains and attacks Frankie. As Tom becomes afraid, Tom scolds Frankie for rejecting his creations. He says that a ship is not inherently good or bad. No matter how his creations are used, he must never deny them. He should be proud of his work. As they are surrounded with guns pointed at Tom, he tells Iceberg and Frankie not to interfere with what is about to happen. Yeah, so this one I think is it's pretty gut wrenching.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, to see Spandam's plan go accordingly and executed pretty well. You hate to see it, and then it ends in bloodshed. And Mr. Tom, he seems like mortally wounded to me, and like no one seemed really concerned until after their post argument.
Guys, I'm still bleeding here.
Guys, I have a harpoon through the center of my chest. When you're done arguing, I could use a hand. But yeah, I mean, I think the climax of this chapter when Iceberg is like, "I'm never gonna forgive you for as long as I live." Brutal. I mean, that was absolutely like, because you can understand exactly where he's coming from.
This is what Iceberg has been. Yeah, this is what Iceberg has been warning Frankie about, like this entire time since like the flashback started. He's like, dude, stop making these weapons. Like they're dangerous. You know, you're responsible for them. Like in the wrong hands, you know, they could do some serious damage.
Right.
And now Frankie's seeing firsthand exactly what Iceberg was trying to warn him about.
Yeah, I told you so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like you also feel for Frankie too, because you know he was innocent in the sense that, you know, these weren't used for the purposes that he had intended. So it's also hard to see. They all get pretty beat up.
And very underhanded for Spandam here to manipulate the situation this way. It's like they take their members, their agents, and like bring them into the ships, and they start attacking. And then when Tom and Iceberg go to check it out, they already abandoned the ship. So now they're caught on the ships, and then they get exploded. And Tom gets hit by Frankie's harpoon, which is designed to go in and not come out. So yeah, Frankie feels responsible.
Yeah, that was some devious shit.
And then Frankie was renouncing ownership of the ships because he sees that, and Tom's not a big fan.
Yes. That really gets him going. Not a lot of things seem to phase him, but that really got him.
Right?
He gives an amazing mentor flashback monologue.
We see a side of Tom we have not seen even a hint of.
Which seems to surprise the crowd as well.
Everybody, yeah.
Because Tom's kind of built a good reputation among like the people at this point.
I just love that. I just love what he says to Frankie so much. But even looks like the story of the world, you're the one who gave them life. You at least have to love them. Which like works on one level because of everything Frankie's doing with his ships, but also Frankie was literally abandoned by his parents.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking that earlier as well. Yeah, because he's been, like you said, he's been abandoned himself, and now he's trying to abandon his creations. Like he's the one that needs to, like he's the only one that would want to like take care of these things, you know?
Yeah, they're his responsibility.
That's exactly what I need to hear, especially after the conversation with Iceberg, as well as what happened, you know, ship-wise, Water 7-wise.
Yeah.
Good shit, Tom.
Yeah, like you're the one who gave them life. You at least have to love them. The one who created them must not deny them. Like don't blame the ships. Like the ships didn't do this.
I don't think he should have made the ships, but
I mean that's part of the debate, right?
Yeah. It's like you try to take this metaphor too far, and like I'm not trying to get like IRL about this. I think we all know what we're thinking here, where this is going, and it's like I have to operate with this argument and like exist with this character's motivations in the wild world of One Piece. And within the wild world of One Piece, where it's like the word pirate means essentially like anarchist freedom fighter 80% of the time, 70% of the time. I don't know. Like it's kind of like, all right, I'll entertain this idea of like, yes, you made these gun machine monsters, but you took pride in it, so that's fine. It's like, okay, like I'm just gonna I'm gonna take the story for the wacky universe it is. You take this argument into any real serious direction, and I think it's obscene. Like it's gross. Like, so we're just gonna not go there. Like,
I mean, like have you guys seen Oppenheimer?
Yeah, he shouldn't have made that.
So I think if you take the context like Oppenheimer, like the events that we saw, like from that perspective, I think you could kind of apply that in this situation as well. So yeah, I see like Sean's point, and like in the real world application, like I think that's completely valid, and like just because you can't make something doesn't mean you should. And I do think that's also part of the argument here as well, and that's what Iceberg was trying to convey. I know this story was kind of like trying to say like Iceberg wasn't in the right.
Yeah,
Tom's kind of
I
being
don't think
presented
that's
pretty solidly. Like I don't know.
I don't think it's that Iceberg's in the wrong. I think it's that they're both just on. They're both still growing, and they need to find more nuance in where they're both at.
Well, I think the way it's being presented is Tom is telling Iceberg that like he shouldn't be stifling Frankie, and like the speech that Tom is giving is, I think, kind of in contrast to like what Tom is trying to teach Frankie, like Iceberg is saying you shouldn't be making these things, and Tom's like you should make them, but just make sure that you're proud of what you do. Do you disagree?
I'm trying to figure out where exactly I am with it.
Yeah.
Because to me, it seems like Tom isn't explicitly relating it to Iceberg himself. I think it's solely at Frankie's abandonment of them rather than creation of them himself.
Right.
Because Tom's not going to go make the Pluton.
Right. Based on what we've seen, well, yeah, like from Iceberg, like Iceberg wouldn't be the one to create them. So if the blueprints were in his hands, he doesn't want this. With the conversations he's had with Robin, he's saying this thing should not happen. I need to kill Robin to make sure this does not get created. So we don't know how Frankie's he stands on this, but he's one that we are assuming actually has blueprints. And based on Frankie's past here, we've seen that he was willing to make these weapons. So, but now we have like this like philosophical debate on like, should weapons be made kind of deal. So I just think the way the story is being presented, I feel like we are meant to perceive Tom's perspective and how it's being applied to the story, and it's meant to be a positive thing. I'm not saying it's wrong; it's positive.
No.
Like, and I think in the context of the story, yeah, like I agree with that. It's like,
100%, yeah.
It's not like a gun.
Yeah, I think Oda's definitely he's saying Tom is supposed to be the right one in this situation. So
that's why it's being presented. Yeah,
I agree with that as well. I don't think he's necessarily exactly where either Frankie or Iceberg are, or against where Iceberg is, because we know he's not fully against where Frankie is, because I think it does show in that chapter that he entrusted the blueprints to Iceberg over Frankie, the one who does show restraint.
I think he gave it to both of them, didn't he?
Kind of gave it to both of them.
He said it's up to you two to decide. So he's saying you guys can make your own decisions.
Oh no, he did say it too. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That's on me. I was looking at Iceberg saying, "I understand. I'll accept it." I get you now.
Yeah. So I'm just saying it's kind of like the point that is being made is that like, guns don't kill people; people kill people. So I think that's like the point that's trying to be made is you can make these weapons, but like the reason why they're so destructive is when they're in the hands of people. So people are the real threat. It's not so much inherently the creations. And I think that ultimately that is the point that we are to take away from this.
Yeah. But Tom made the ship for the Pirate King.
Yes. So should he have been executed for creating the ship that happened to become like the vehicle for the King of the Pirates?
So
I don't know if we have the answer, but
do we know like so he just like I built this ship and then like some dude came along, Gold Roger, and was like, I'll buy that one. Is that the idea, or did he specifically was Gold Roger like, hi, I'm Gold Roger, I'd like you to build me a ship?
King of the Pirates.
Future King of the Pirates.
Yeah, like
I don't think we know.
Which without that context, it's like, oh, it happened to be made by it happened to be a pirate. I'm like, I don't know, because if he built it specifically like to like if Roger's like, here's specifications, here's how many cannons I want, here's like a hold for the loot, here's like I don't know a brig or something and all this stuff. It's like, okay, but you did this specifically knowing what it would be for, rather than like you just put it up for sale. Like, I don't know. It's
all
unclear.
This is Tom just trying to justify like what he did was like okay.
It really is just starting to feel a bit like, no, here, guys. Like, okay, Tom.
Yeah. So based on the what we know for the next chapter, it's not explicit, but I'm under the impression that I believe that Tom probably knew exactly who he was making the ship for and like who was going to belong to. I could be wrong, but I don't think we have anything to prove otherwise. But I think either way, it wouldn't stop Tom from making the ship.
And he didn't know this guy was the Pirate King. He just knew he was a pirate. And as we see, even
he could have been the loser pirate.
Iceberg currently. Yeah, and like even Galilond or Iceberg in the current point of the story still make ships for pirates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So any one of them could be the future king of the pirates. So
Yeah, we don't really know Gold Roger's character at all. And
true.
We don't even really know what the King of the Pirates entails, because our lead protagonist wants to be that very person. So are we saying that Luffy wants to be an evil warlord? I don't know. I don't think so.
I hope not.
I hope not.
It'd be a very different kind of manga.
I don't know. I think it's just skewed because the good guys and bad guys are all kind of mixed up in One Piece, which is what makes it super fun.
Well, one thing in Luffy's favor is if we think back to Crocus, back in Reverse Mountain, he said that Luffy reminded him of Roger.
Yeah, we've gotten that a couple times.
So, just pointing that out.
It happened again in Skypiea. When it was when Gold Roger visited Skypiea, and he's like, "Oh, you remind me of him."
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, gone for it. Yeah.
Yeah, gone for it.
That's right. So yeah. Anyway, yes. Anything else before we move on?
I think I'm good to move on.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up the volume. Chapter 357, Cutty Flam. The crowd begins to run away as Tom, uncharacteristically, resorts to violence and takes a swing at Spandam, sending him flying. Before he can land another blow, Marines open fire, sending a volley of tranquilizer bullets, bringing Tom to his knees. Tom then claims full responsibility for the attack on the judicial ship, but has one condition: that today's crime be forgiven per the prior arrangement, which would put them right back where they were 13 years ago, with Tom being guilty of assisting the Pirate King and sentenced to death. Tom says, "I am proud," with a boom, they aided the man called Roger, sealing his fate. Frankie pleads with Tom, but Tom is at peace. His dream of seeing Water 7 thrive again has been attained. Tom passes out as the tranquilizers kick in. Spandam orders that Tom, Iceberg, and Frankie be arrested, but the judge honors Tom's condition. Iceberg and Frankie are to be left out of it, but that doesn't work for Frankie, who takes a marine gun and uses it as a club to clobber Spandam in the face. He is pursued, but is able to escape. Later, we see the Puffing Tom departing Water 7 for Endy's lobby with CP5 and Tom aboard, but something is on the tracks. It's a crazed Frankie, and he's strapped with the cannonball launcher. Determined to save Tom from execution, he fires at the approaching train. It's no use as the train advances, but Frankie doesn't back down. He stands his ground and tries to wrestle the train. He never stood a chance as he's tossed into the air.
Well, I feel like everything just seems to be going from bad to worse.
But what a great punch.
Yeah.
Right.
The one saving grace. I just love seeing Spandam get the crap kicked out of him.
Followed up by a good clubbing from Frankie.
Mhm. Mwah.
Yeah, I also really
Chef's
like this panel too, where we can see kind of the silhouette of Tom after he punched Spandam, but like he's kind of shadowed out, so he does look more like threatening. So like, you know, Tom, we know Tom is like this jovial, like friendly guy. Now he's kind of being painted as like, you know, kind of a demon kind of way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of being vilified here, and they shoot him.
Yeah, you hate to see it. It's just hard to see because, like, I feel like even though we've only known Tom for a very short period of time, we know how out of character the violence is for him, just knowing everything that we've seen up to this point. And we saw the shock on everyone's faces when he resorted to violence.
Mm.
And here we just see him doubling down on, you know, his sort of sacrificing himself to save his sons.
Yeah, but I mean, we do get the sense that he's doing this for a good reason.
Mhm.
So he's really trying to set himself up as being solely responsible for this crime. So he was going to be pardoned. So we now have confirmation he was going to be pardoned for the previous crime he was going to be executed for. Like he earned his right to live with the Puffing Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's like, if there's any one crime that I want to be tried for, it's this one. Yeah. Well, yeah. So yeah, he's like, all right, so we're gonna waive this one crime. It's this one here. So it puts him right back where he was before. And yeah, so now he's back to being on the execution stand after kind of earning his freedom.
Yeah, which is hard to swallow. But then we do have kind of this moment, I think it's where there is some kind of like resolve where he's like, I've seen my dream fulfilled. Was that this chapter? It was, right?
Was it?
Oh
yeah. No, it's Louis as he's about to fall over.
Yeah, sorry, I got sidetracked. But he's saying like his dream was to see Water 7 fulfilled to its former glory, or turned into a place where it can thrive. And he did exactly that. I feel like it's like, I fulfilled my wish. So he was kind of like resolute in his decision.
Yeah, because it just seemed like he, if he was going to be executed 10 years ago, like that, he had like work to do that was unfulfilled. So he was kind of like, I need to at least see this through. So I think that was his main motivation, was to be like, let's see if I can at least get this running. I think I could save this town before I go. So he didn't have a guarantee that he was going to be pardoned, but it turned out being the case that he would be. Which I'm actually really surprised about, because I was thinking that like they were going to be like, oh yeah, that's fine. We'll have you make the C train, and then 10 years they'll kill him anyway. But they're just like, you just delayed the inevitable. So like it's actually pretty like honorable that the judge here was going to actually pardon him. Like I actually didn't expect that. I thought he was going to be like, well, too bad, because we expect that from like the world government people at this point.
Deal's a deal.
Like,
yeah,
insane.
And then Tom announces that he was proud that he aided the man called Roger.
I think that's about enough of an implication, like you said, Joel, to be like, yeah. Exactly. He hand delivered this shit to him. Like,
yeah.
And then Spandam's just kind of being like, but wait, no, hold on, they're bad. You have to punish them for this. And then the judge is like, nope, he's good. He's paying for this crime, so we're done here.
Yeah, Spandam's a very punchable guy.
Yeah, Frankie would agree.
Yeah,
he really just goes on a rampage.
Truly.
And then train is a running.
Yeah, and we see the train taking off with Spandam after being like brutalized by Frankie. His face is all in bandages. But then Frankie goes to confront the train on the tracks, and he tries to stand up to it and does not do a great job.
Good effort. Like legitimately good effort.
He inspires Yokozuna, so
yeah.
It looks like that's where he got this from.
Yeah,
and supposedly this is the incident that made it seem like that Cutty Flam was killed.
But we also know that he has an ambition. He wants to build a dream ship that can sail to the ends of the world with pride.
Yeah. But too bad he dies right here.
I mean, hey, we can't all
Cutty Flam dies here, and Frankie is born.
Yeah. I wonder if he lost his arms in the incident and had to rebuild them himself.
We can rebuild him.
He has the technology.
Faster, stronger, super rare.
The 6 million berry man.
Or would he be a 200 million berry man?
Yeah, that's the question.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Evil. That one hurt. I love it.
All right. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on the chapter or the volume as a whole?
I'm just looking at Spandam's face on this last panel, and he has like, I think he has too many teeth. I think somebody needs to do something about the rest of them.
Yeah, he just has like the look of satisfaction, like watching the Cutty Flam go up in the air.
Jerk. I hate him. In case I haven't said that enough. But yeah.
Yeah, I think on that note, like an overall note that I feel like we've seen, especially in this volume, is the good, the bad, and the ugly of the Marines. I feel like we've kind of seen different different sides to the world government, and then I feel like with the introduction of CP9 and CP5, it's like kind of puts a lot of that justice into question. You know, we have these branches of the government who are allowed to kind of act outside of the government, or outside of like the laws, which isn't new to us because we've also seen warlords be granted amnesty, essentially, to not be a problem. And yeah, I think we saw some really ugly world government decisions and actions taken in this volume.
Yeah, very like Machiavellian, like ends just by the means kind of deal. So
yeah, but it makes you wonder. Also, I didn't realize that Iceberg has purple hair and Frankie has blue hair. But I love that.
Yeah, I forget that like you haven't seen them in color before, so like your only exposure is like
they're on the cover, and I love the look.
What color do you think Tom is?
Like his skin color?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny. It's like something I don't think about, you know? Like
Frankie's
hair color. I didn't think about it until I saw it on the cover and was like, oh my God, it's like a baby blue. Who knew?
Yeah, Tom is kind of like a pale yellow, kind of light green.
I'm trying to find his intro page just because I'm trying to remember what fish he was. He was
see like the orange
longhorned cowfish.
Cowfish, that's what it is.
Googling that right now. Oh, it's yellow.
Oh, there you go.
It's actually like very like canary yellow with white dots. That's hilarious.
Evan, do you remember who Bartholomew Kuma is?
Bartholomew sounds very familiar.
He's
one of no, go ahead.
He was one of the warlords that got introduced after Jaya. It was like him and the flamingo guy.
He was the big dude with the Bible.
Oh, flamingo.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Yep.
What color do you think his coat is?
See, I don't know. I don't think of these things. I feel like I don't really add a color when I'm reading everything in black and white. I feel like I don't know. I just don't think about it, I guess.
No, you're good. This is like one of my favorite like anime adaptation things about One Piece is that. So because of that reason, it's like, okay, no one like puts a color in it. And because it's like a black and white manga, the coat was colored in black. And so the anime just gives him like full black outfit, which like very much works for like his whole color scheme, his whole vibe. And then Oda does like a color spread. And his whole course is like this really bright orange, like Naruto Uzumaki orange.
Okay.
And then the manga ends up changing it to fit with the anime.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that's like
wow.
What you mentioned. Oh, I just didn't think of what their hair color would be. Like, I feel like you just brought me straight back to seeing that color spread, being like, oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, I already thought Frankie had a funky look, but then I find out that his Hawaiian shirt is bright red with green palm trees on it. And he's got, like, baby blue hair. It's like, oh, damn.
The true drip god.
Yeah. It's a look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so any other closing thoughts on the volume?
I think we're going to get more backstory, though. I think we're
fuck Spandam. All my homies hate Spandam.
All the homies hate Spandam. Spandam L's in the chat. Spandam, this guy sucks.
More like Span don't.
Okay, on that note, that will conclude this week's episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. You can find this podcast wherever podcasts are found at We're Reading One Piece podcast.buzzsprout.com or on the YouTube channel at We're Reading One Piece. This is a spoiler-free channel up to where we record the podcast, so if you're new to the series, you can visit the channel there. You can also find me and this podcast on my YouTube channel at Pirate King Codex. Next episode, we'll be discussing Volume 38, Rocket Man. I've been Joel, and I've been joined by Sean.
This has been Sean.
Evan.
Thanks for listening with a boom.
And Cody.
This is Cody, and Spandam still sucks.
All right. Well, be sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you on the next episode.